Urgent Cleveland Browns fans. Do not miss this. What just happened? You won't believe this one. But before we reveal the big news, make sure to subscribe to the channel, because here, we bring you daily videos with the latest Cleveland Browns updates. And to not miss anything, activate the notifications. Alright, Browns fans, today we've got some serious updates that you absolutely can't afford to miss. We're diving deep into the latest on Deshaun Watson, a player whose journey with the Browns has been nothing short of roller coaster. You remember when Cleveland traded for Watson, right? The expectations were sky high. Fans were excited, hopeful, dreaming of that franchise quarterback who could finally lead them back to the playoffs and, perhaps, even contend for a Super Bowl. But, unfortunately, things haven't exactly gone as planned. And today, we're going to break down what's really happening with Watson, his injury struggles, and what this means for the Browns moving forward. You see, since Watson arrived in Cleveland, he's been a figure surrounded by a mix of anticipation and frustration. The massive deal he signed, a staggering $230 million guaranteed, made headlines across the league. But what's been happening on the field? Well, that's where the story gets complicated. In fact, the criticism from fans and analysts alike has been relentless, but not necessarily because of his play on the gridiron. No, the real issue is the lack of consistent playing time. Watson, who was supposed to be the Browns' answer at quarterback, has hardly been able to stay healthy enough to make a real impact. In the 3 seasons he's been with Cleveland, Watson has played just 19 games. That's less than a full season's worth of games, and most of those appearances have been in the last 2 years. And those appearances have been plagued with injuries, which have really hampered any chance of him settling into a rhythm. The 2023 season was supposed to be his bounce-back year, a chance to show the league why Cleveland went all in on him. But then, disaster struck. A shoulder injury derailed his campaign early on, forcing him to miss critical time. Not long after, last season, an Achilles tear ended his year just 7 games into the season. And if that wasn't enough, here we are in January, and Watson has re-torn his Achilles. It's a brutal setback, and it's made many fans and experts question whether we'll ever see him on the field again in the near future. This has led to a lot of speculation, some even whispering about retirement. But, as we've heard from credible sources like Mary Kay Cabot of Cleveland, those whispers are largely unfounded. According to her, Watson is very determined to come back and play again. And it's not just about pride or love for the game, there's a lot of money on the line. That massive $230 million contract is still very much in play, and Watson isn't about to walk away from that kind of guaranteed money. The reports suggest he's making good progress in his rehab, especially since he's been out of the boot for some time now and has been throwing again at the team's facilities. Still, we have to be realistic. Achilles injuries, especially torn ones, are notoriously difficult to recover from, especially for athletes at such a high level. And here's the thing, most experts agree that it's unlikely Watson will be ready to play until the 2026 season. That's a long wait, and it's a tough pill for Browns fans to swallow, especially when you consider how much you've invested emotionally and financially into this quarterback. But the Browns aren't just sitting around waiting. At least for the start of this season, the team appears poised to roll with veteran Joe Flacco under center for Week 1. Flacco, with his experience and leadership, gives Cleveland a steady presence behind the line, even if he's not the long-term answer. But the team also has 2 promising rookies, SHEDEUR, who they drafted in April, and Dillon Gabriel, a talented young quarterback with a lot of potential. Now, this is where it gets interesting. If one of these rookies manages to impress during the preseason or early games, the Browns might start thinking about a future beyond Watson, especially if his return gets delayed or doesn't meet expectations. Cleveland has shown a willingness in recent years to develop young talent and make bold moves when they see potential. So, if one of these rookies steps up, we could see a shift in the quarterback landscape pretty quickly. That's a scenario that Browns fans should keep an eye on, because it could reshape the team's future plans, especially if Watson's comeback continues to face setbacks. But let's take a moment to appreciate the determination of Deshaun Watson himself. Despite all these injuries, setbacks, and now the questions about his future, he remains committed to returning to the field. That kind of resilience is admirable. It's not easy to stay motivated through so many hurdles, especially when your career and reputation are on the line. Watson's progress has been steady, and he's been working tirelessly on his rehab. From being out of the boot to throwing passes again, that's a huge step forward. Still, the reality is that recovery from an Achilles tear, especially a retorn Achilles, is a long, painstaking process. Most likely, we won't see him suit up again until 2026, if everything continues to go well. This situation puts the Browns in a tough spot. Do they wait patiently for Watson's return, or do they start planning for the future with their young quarterbacks? The truth is, Cleveland is in a bit of a transitional phase at the position. The team's management is no doubt weighing their options carefully, especially since the NFL is a league where timing and performance are everything. And with the NFL landscape constantly changing, teams improving, players developing, and rookies emerging, the Browns need to position themselves wisely if they hope to be contenders in the coming years. So, what does this mean for the Browns' 2024 season? Well, it's safe to say that the team's immediate focus is on getting healthy and building chemistry, especially on offense. The offensive line has been solid, and with new weapons in the receiving core, Cleveland is hoping to see a more dynamic attack this year. But the quarterback position remains a question mark. Will Flacco be able to lead the team effectively? Will the rookie show enough promise to earn a shot? And most importantly, can Watson come back at all, and if he does, how effective will he be after such a long layoff? These are the questions that fans are debating, and the answers will shape the Browns' trajectory for the next few seasons. Now, it's worth mentioning that Cleveland's history with injuries and quarterback transitions isn't exactly new. The franchise has faced its share of ups and downs, with periods of instability at the position. But what's different now is the high investment they made in Watson, both financial and in terms of expectations. The pressure is immense, and fans are eager for him to return to form. But patience is also key, because rushing a comeback after such a significant injury can sometimes do more harm than good. The Browns are walking a tightrope. They want Watson to come back strong, but they also need to be realistic about timelines and health risks. Looking ahead, the Browns are also thinking long-term. The NFL is a league where quarterback injuries happen all the time, and teams that develop young talent often find a way to stay competitive despite setbacks. Cleveland's drafting of Sanders and Gabriel signals that they're preparing for multiple scenarios. If Watson's health continues to improve and he's able to return in 2026, that's great. But if not, they have options. The key is to keep building around the rest of the team, strengthening the defense, improving the offensive line, and developing their young quarterbacks. That's the path to sustained success, and the Browns are clearly aware of that. And let's not forget the emotional aspect here. Browns fans have been through so much over the years: heartbreaks, near misses, and rebuilds. Watson's saga adds another chapter to that story. It's a story of hope, setbacks, resilience, and the relentless pursuit of greatness. The next few months will be crucial, not just for Watson's health, but for how the team adapts and evolves in his absence. Fans are eagerly waiting to see what the future holds, and one thing is certain: Cleveland is a franchise that never gives up, no matter how tough the challenge is. So, as we watch this situation unfold, remember that the Browns are in a unique position. They have a talented, albeit injured, quarterback with a huge contract and high expectations. They have emerging young talent ready to step in if needed. And they have a dedicated fan base hungry for success. The road ahead might be bumpy, but Browns fans are known for their resilience and loyalty. This team has come a long way, and while the current injuries are a setback, the future still holds promise. It's all about patience, smart decisions, and trusting the process. And now, Cleveland Browns fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on Deshaun Watson's situation? Do you believe he'll return in 2026 and be the quarterback the team hoped for? Or do you think it's time to start looking at the next chapter with the young guns? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Browns. Remember, I'll be back soon with more updates, insights, and news about your favorite team, so stay tuned for the latest Cleveland Browns news. This season is shaping up to be one of the most interesting yet, with plenty of twists and turns, and Browns fans are right in the thick of it. Thanks for watching, and as always, go Browns!